When you hear the term human resources, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For a lot of us, for a long time, it was probably stuff like payroll, paperwork, and, policies. But that whole picture, it's completely out of date. Today, we're going to talk about the incredible journey HR has been on, from being seen as just an administrative department to becoming a real strategic powerhouse that actually helps steer the ship.
So, let's kick things off with a big question, one that really gets to the heart of what we're talking about today. Think about any company you know. Is its HR department a cost center, basically just handling the day-to-day stuff? Or is it a true strategic partner, someone who's actively helping to build the company's future? The answer to that question tells you a whole lot about how we think about people and work today.
All right, so here's our game plan. We're going to start with a quick history of HR, then look at what really pushed it to change. After that, we'll get into the nitty-gritty, the key differences between traditional HR and strategic HR. We'll even see it in action with a real-world example, and then we'll wrap up by talking about why this whole shift is so important.
So, how in the world did we get here? I mean, this move from being an administrator to a full-on strategist didn't just happen overnight. To really get where HR is headed, we first have to take a look back at where it all started.
For a long time, managing people was all about industrial efficiency. Just think assembly lines, stopwatches, that kind of thing. But then, in the 1930s, this light bulb went on. People realized, hey, workers aren't just machines. Their feelings, their relationships, that stuff actually matters for productivity. That gave rise to what was called personnel, which handled the basics: paychecks, time off, rules. It wasn't really until the turn of the century that we started hearing human resources. And that name change was a big deal, because it signaled a new way of thinking. People aren't just an expense, they're a resource you need to cultivate.
But just being seen as a resource wasn't the end of the story. Not by a long shot. The business world was about to get hit by this massive wave of change and complexity, and that old administrative model of HR, it just wasn't going to cut it anymore.
So what happened? Well, a few huge things. First, globalization connected everything, bringing in new competition and new markets. Then you had this explosion in technology, digital, AI, that completely changed how we work. All of this made business incredibly complex. And then, bam! Unpredictable events like the pandemic showed us that companies had to be way more resilient and adaptable than ever before. All of a sudden, having an HR department that just reacted to problems and pushed paper wasn't just old-fashioned, it was a serious liability.
And that brings us to the absolute heart of the matter. This is the most important distinction we're going to talk about today, the difference between what we call traditional human resource management, or HRM, and its modern evolution, strategic human resource management, you got it, SHRM. Really, when you boil it all down, the difference is about one thing: perspective. Traditional HRM is reactive, it's tactical, it deals with problems as they come up. SHRM, on the other hand, is proactive and strategic. It's always looking ahead, trying to make sure the company has the right people and skills to meet its long-term goals. And when you break it down like this, you can see just how big of a change we're talking about. Traditional HRM is all about the short term. It's transactional, and frankly, it's seen as a cost center. It's asking, how do we fix today's problem? But SSHRM, it's playing the long game, it's transformational, and it's seen as an investment center. It's asking, what kind of company do we need to be in 5 years, and what's our talent strategy to get us there? It's a total mindset shift from just managing costs to actually investing in the future.
Let me put it another way. The transactional role is like the mechanic who keeps the car's engine running smoothly day to day. The transformational role, that's the engineer in the lab designing the next generation engine that's going to win the race.
There's a really great analogy that makes this whole thing crystal clear. It's like planning a road trip. The strategy, the path you choose to take, that's everything, right? Because if you're on the wrong road, it doesn't matter how fast you're driving or how cool your car is, you're just not going to get where you need to go.
And this is a brilliant way to see how they work together. SHRM, that's your map. It picks the destination and figures out the best way to get there, making sure the whole trip serves the bigger goal. Then you have HRM, which manages the actual journey. It makes sure you have a good car, a skilled driver, enough gas in the tank, and everything else you need to actually travel that path. See? You really can't have one without the other.
Okay, this all sounds really good in theory, right? But what does it actually look like in the real world? Let's check out how a massive, well-known company puts this idea of strategic alignment to work every single day.
UPS is just a perfect example. What's their core business strategy?
It's all about efficiency, right? Getting packages from A to B as fast as possible. So their SHRM strategy is to design every single job in the company, every driver, every loader, around that core principle. Then the HRM function comes in and executes that plan. They hire the people they need and create training programs that teach the most efficient way to do every little task. The big strategy guides the people plan, which then guides the day-to-day actions. It's beautiful.
So what's the big takeaway here? Why does all of this matter so much? Why is this evolution from a simple tactical function to a real strategic partner not just nice to have, but absolutely essential for a company's success? $100 billion. That is the market valuation that the tech company Infosys hit after they laser-focused on aligning their HR strategy with their business goal of becoming a leader in digital transformation. They doubled their value in just over a year. So this isn't just some abstract theory, this is strategic HR delivering huge, tangible results.
At the end of the day, it all boils down to one simple truth. In today's economy, any competitor can go out and buy the same machines. They can license the same software. The one thing, the only thing they can't copy is your people. A skilled, motivated, and aligned team is the only real competitive advantage you have left. And that makes managing your people strategically probably the most important job in any modern company.
And you can see this change reflected right at the top. The Chief Human Resources Officer, the CHRO, isn't just some department head tucked away in an office anymore. Today, they're a trusted advisor to the CEO, they often sit on the board of directors, and they have a direct say in the highest levels of business strategy, everything from mergers to digital transformation.
So, this entire journey from basic administration all the way to strategic partner, it's been about constant, rapid change. Which, of course, leaves us with one final, massive question to think about. As artificial intelligence continues to shake up every single part of business, what's next? What new skills, what new strategies are going to define the next evolution in the story of how we manage the human side of work?